Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or heck, even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. Today, I'm going to show you how I go about propagating blackberry plants, so stay tuned. All right, so this is my blackberry patch right here, and I've got some old cane I need to cut out of here. You know, 1-year-old cane, it produces on the first year. Second year it doesn't, so there's nothing. I mean, once it's already produced fruit, it just dies, and it's not too overly crowded, but I still need to get that out of here, and I'll go ahead and cut that out. Also need to do some cleanup in here. I've got some other vine growing in here I need to pull out as much as I can, do some pretty heavy mulching. But right now what I need to do is to get more blackberries. They're just not producing nearly as much as I want, so I'm going to propagate some. I've got one right over here behind me. I don't know if you can see this in camera. Let's see, can you? I think you might be able to. It broke over, and you can't see the break, but I had a pretty good storm last night. I'm guessing that's what did it. I can go ahead and get probably at least 2, maybe 3 new bushes out of this, or new canes out of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off right there where it's broke. Take that with me, and I'm gonna go ahead and get 1 or 2 more. All right, so this is a pretty good long cane here. If I wasn't really in a kind of a crunch to get a whole lot more blackberries in this section, I might leave it. But I can get several cuttings out of this and still not hurt the plant. So I'm going to cut it off. What I'm going to do is just find a spot in here fairly close down so I can get a pretty decent long section and cut above a leaf node. So there's a node. You probably can't see this in the camera, but there's a leaf right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut right above that, and that will be where I'll start my propagation of this. Actually, I'm gonna cut right below it. Sorry, cut right below it. So there we go, right below the leaf node, hopefully you can tell. And 2 of these, I'm not gonna get a ton, but I'll get at least 4 more probably blackberries out of this right here. And I think that's probably all I'll do today. So let's go get started on that. All right, one more thing I wanna show you is a super easy way to propagate blackberry. This blackberry is leaned over like this. If I were to just dig a spot in the ground right here, stick it in the ground, and cover it back up, that's going to root out, take root, and produce a whole new cane. So I can do that. Once it roots out, you can snip it in half here if you want to, or just leave it. It doesn't really matter. But that's a super easy way to get more blackberry out of it. It just propagates super easy. Honestly, you could probably take these cuttings, just snip them off, snip the bottom 2 leaves off, stick them in the ground, and if you're in the rainy season, there's a pretty good chance they're going to go ahead and root out and produce. But I'm going to give them a little bit of an extra help just to make sure, just to ensure that I get a little bit better of a success rate out of that. All right, so this is what we're going to start with to propagate these blackberries, and again, make sure they've got a pretty good chance of starting. I'm going to use this is Garden Safe Take Root rooting hormone. There's several different types of rooting hormone you can use. Again, you could probably get away with just sticking them in there, and as long as you keep them damp, you've got a pretty decent chance of them rooting out. Blackberry roots out pretty easy, but this will kind of give it a little bit extra oomph and make it just a little bit more likely. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut my my cuttings that I'm going to start with. Now what I want to do is cut, I want to leave a leaf or 2 that I'm going to be putting in the ground, and then I want a leaf or 2 above it. There's a couple of leaf nodes right here, so I think that I can cut it off right there. I'll leave 1 full leaf, 1 leaf node right there. These 2 will be underground, so I think that'll work just fine for 1 cutting. So first thing I'm going to do is clean up the bottom just a little bit, cut it up a little bit closer to that first leaf. Then I'm going to go up 2 leaf nodes, cut off actually right below the next one, because the next one will become the top of my next cutting. So there's 1 leaf node, there's 2 leaf nodes, I'll leave 2 above it. I'll cut up just above the next one. That's a pretty small cutting, but I think it's going to work. And then we've got 1, 2, this is probably about all I'm going to get out of this one here. I've got 2 leaf nodes there, a couple up top, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that one the way it is. So I'm going to cut the next one. Again, I've got 1 leaf node there, 1 leaf node there. I'll go 2 more, and I'll cut right above the very next one above that. So 4 leaf nodes, and then trim. And do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and trim below the next one. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And I might be able to get 2 more out of there instead of just 1. Let's try it. Okay, first things first, with the blackberry, I want to remove the bottom 2 leaf nodes and leave the top. Let's make sure I got it the right way. That way is the way I want to go. I think that's up. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to remove the bottom 2 leaf nodes Probably best to go ahead and just trim them off. Just cut off the leaves. So I've got 2 leaf nodes, one there, one there. Always wear gloves when you're working with rooting hormone. Best not to get that on your skin. Might cause some kind of problems. I mean, it is a hormone. And this is super easy. I'm going to dip it in some water to moisten it. Dip it in the rooting hormone, stir it around a little bit so I get quite a bit on there. Hopefully you can see that. Tap off the excess, stick it in the ground. And there we go. That's all we need to do. We'll set this in a shady spot, keep it pretty damp, keep it pretty moist, water it a couple of times a day so it stays damp, doesn't dry off. Sit it in a little bit of a shady spot and it should root out in a week or 2 at the most. But that's pretty much all there is to it. So I've got a couple more to get done here. Let me get a pot filled with some potting mix and we'll go from there. All right, let's try this again. So we've got another one. I'm going to remove the bottom 2 leaf nodes. There we go, that way. I'm going to remove the bottom 2 leaves. Just snip them off. Snip off that one. We're going to dip it in the water to get it good and damp and moist. And then in the rooting hormone it goes. Stir it around a little bit. Tap off the excess and into the pot it goes. And that's it. That's all there is to it. That should root out and produce another blackberry. But I need to go make some more potting mix. So anyway, you guys don't need to watch me do the rest of that. Again, at this point, it's just a matter of keeping them good and damp. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blackberries here for basically nothing. And these things around here go for about $8 a plant. So that's, oh good grief, I can't do the math in my head. What's that, about $48 worth of blackberries for nothing? Pretty good skill to learn. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, God bless.